Okay. Why don't we get started? We do have a quorum, and so we'll go from there. We've had excuses from three, from Sheila Lyons, from Jenny Parker, and from Bruce Catcher, all of whom were in the workaday world. So, just starting out on the agenda, are there any general announcements by the board or by the public? If not, we'll go straight into the meeting minutes of June 19th, which I think we've all seen before, and Wayne has handed them out again. Great, I appreciate that.
So I move they be approved as written.
Second.
One question I had that I'd like to fill in on, about the pier. The recording was a little blurred. Joe, you noted that 5 of the comments were appreciative of what the folks downtown did, and you said the others were, what's the other?
Requesting dedicated parking places for boaters.
Okay. I'll add that if you don't mind.
You want to change the minutes somehow?
Yeah, I'll do it before I post them.
Okay. So can we have a move to amend?
I move to amend.
I second.
All right. We'll just go straight through the votes. All in favor of the amended minutes?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Next on our agenda is the Funk Bus and Cape Destinations, but I'd like Suzanne to be here if she can.
I just saw her upstairs, she said she was.
Yep,
Making our way down.
so why don't we continue on? I haven't done anything on website postings, but I was thinking that there are some things that we need to do. But let's just defer that since Ms. Thomas has arrived. So, Suzanne, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, and we're just gonna go straight into Funk Bus and Cape Destinations.
Okay.
You guys wanna come up in any fashion, whatever? So we got your letter, or I should say, Dan Hort got your letter, and he immediately flashed it out to others. And so, have you had any feedback on this yet? Or-
Not really.
Yeah, okay. And Susan?
Introduction.
Yeah, okay, if you would, please identify yourself.
Oh, sorry, Raphael Richter, Mercedes Cab Company Incorporated, which is the Funk Bus.
Okay,
Jay Kavanaugh, Cape Destinations.
all right, thank you. And Suzanne, you're welcome.
Apologize for that.
You're welcome to participate, please. In fact, we,
From the audience?
if
Okay.
you'd like to, yeah, that's
Okay.
fine, or you can come up to the table, or, and Mike. So anyhow, all right, well,
Cute.
let's just, go over your proposal and see what, where we want to go from there. I'm not-
Sure. Take a lead.
Sure, absolutely.
So, we've just recognized that as the bus companies that coordinate with these customers that come to Wellfleet, we're in a great position to help. We've been, in different ways, we've been asked to and have tried to help in the past. I think that we understand there's certainly a cost to the town from all the people that come and enjoy the town beaches. And so we would love to find a way where we could develop a fee-based system for the buses to park somewhere so that it solves the issue of being in the way, not a nuisance to the community, while also returning revenue to the town that can help to offset those costs. For example, if we could establish a location that had a $50 per day fee to park a bus, the town is likely to realize we were estimating at least $10,000 in revenue from our operations over the course of the season with all the buses that do come. And then you do have other bus companies on a more limited basis that of course come as well. It's easy for us to get together because we do the majority of the work, and so we're in the best position to help in that regard. As I'm sure you're all aware.
Are you guys affiliated?
No, but you know, everybody likes to
Leave it all
work
for
together.
competitors.
Yeah, we get along.
Friendly competitor.
Yeah, it's always best to be able to come to all of you folks and have a unified solution. The issue of the buses being in the way, I think is just something that obviously draws more attention the longer it happens. And, bus drivers, we try to, of course, control them and give them proper instructions, but in the moment, based on traffic and the conditions that they experience, sometimes, they end up getting in the way when they don't mean to. So we're hoping that it seems like you all have been working hard to identify, the whole parking system in the town. And if there happen to be, this is especially an issue on Saturdays, and of course when July 4th falls during the middle of the week, sort of the whole week. But if there was a place, certainly the elementary school comes to mind as a strong option. And if there needs to be perhaps an overflow spot, we could develop a private relationship for overflow. The town could say we have room for 20, and if there's more than that, you'll have to find a private location to park those. So, some smaller other things, like we'd be happy to fund porta potty in that location so that there's not a nuisance to, just you're gonna have bus drivers there, so they have a place to use the restroom. I think we also, on the busiest 4th of July week issue, we'd like to provide some formal staffing to assist the police department just in communicating with the bus drivers that are off-site. We all know there are communication issues out there, so we would use our digital radio systems and coupled with cellular phone service when it works to just help manage that flow. The biggest thing is customers of course have to be ready to go, and so by doing this and making it clear in our contracts with them, which we can definitely beef up, they need to be ready, and the bus will just leave at a certain time if they're not ready to go. And that is a rule that hopefully the town can also, of course, support us in. The buses can't stay here for more than 5 or maybe 7 minutes loading, and they need to move on their way. And so if there's a determined time and we say you need to be ready at 4 o'clock and everybody has to be at the top of the hill, people will do that if they know their ride is going to disperse.
Absolutely will. Once you leave one person, everybody will hear about it, so. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that's the summary of it. Right? And there have been fee methods proposed in the past, and we're open to other ideas, but we'd love to solve both issues at the same time, getting the money to the town as well as the parking, if possible.
My first reaction is, I know in your letter you said either private or town property for parking. How many buses do you think would the elementary school parking accommodate?
So we didn't go and do any formal measurement of it.
I went through and looked at it this morning. You probably could put 15 school buses and another 8 or 10 smaller buses, so a combination of say 25
That's only on the school side?
on the school side. I didn't look at the parking lot across the
Because that's
street.
gonna possibly be used for the ticket office next year.
Let's talk about,
Yeah.
that's, early days on that
Okay.
discussion. Nothing happens that quickly in Wellfleet. My only comment on that is that the school committee has charge of that parking lot. So any permission to do that would not only come from the town, but the school committee would have to authorize it. And if there's a fee, I'm sure the school committee would want the fees rather than the town from that area. Can any of you think of any other municipal lots?
Senior center?
We use the senior center when we do Oyster Fest that way. We park our buses
It's
at
empty
the
now.
senior center.
Well, when I find a random bus hunkered down on Ocean View Drive, I will recommend that they go wait at the senior center, go park at the senior center. Because they're off Ocean View Drive, because if there's a lemming effect, if one bus parks, and the rest of them go, oh, he's parked, well, I just get behind him. And I understand that, we try to avoid even getting one left on Ocean View Drive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there enough
So-
turnaround room there? Because there's no rotary park there.
Right, I mean, I guess I have to take the company line and say, our drivers are all professionals.
Right.
So if they can't turn a bus around, then they know better to go in there and,
Yeah.
we are in there all the time, especially.
Yeah, the upper lot by the playground is quite generous. I
I don't
mean, you might
see
have to
it.
take a few cuts to get the bus turned around, but it's not like 25 cuts,
Yeah.
it's 2 or 3.
Well, 4th of July, there were, I counted midday or so, 10 buses at the Dunkin' Donut lot, which you'd taken 5 and put as far back as you could and crammed them together and stuff, so they still had room. And then there was probably another 2 limo type style buses,
Yep.
mid-sized
I
buses.
mean, it's a very popular
Right.
event. The hard part for people like us and like all of us here, we can come up with fees and structures and fee it right out of business.
Right.
And I mean, on a July 4th weekend day, we're putting 10, 12 school buses or buses down here. So you're talking 500 people. Put them in a car, and you've got 250 or 300 cars,
Yeah.
people drinking. So I don't think anybody wants to force that to happen. So, I mean, we just all gotta work together, come up with something that works for everybody.
I just had a thought, and what about instead of a per bus fee, if there's an annual lump sum paid by each company to the town for the purposes? And that way you're not counting those as you've got legal places to park and it's for a set fee.
Well, I think, so my immediate reaction is certainly, I think we could be amenable to that. The issue for us would just be an element of fairness with the other companies that aren't identified at the table today. What we've learned is that in countless areas, if an activity is banned and they call the one company that they know how to reach them, they say, you can't do this anymore. And we then tell the consumers, we can't do this service for you anymore. Well, they just call another company that's willing to do it.
Right.
The other company books it and they do it. And so that's the challenge. There is other options kind of always, we do a significant amount of the work, but they can call another option. And if they haven't been communicated, it's impossible to communicate with all of them. So there does have to be, maybe you could do a fee for us and some sort of system for those per diem buses, but
And the other piece of my question is if we have locations to be determined that are on town property, who's gonna collect the fees? How's that gonna work?
I think the fees, probably the simplest way, would be in advance. That it would be a department, whether it's police or who it is, produces a ticket that can be purchased. So a company like us, we know we're gonna do 50, 60 trips a season in here. We'll just, in February, we'll order 50 of them,
Okay,
pay for them.
that makes sense.
The only question, we talked about this several times around, and, the one-shot wonder that's coming down here that doesn't know about it, if they pull up at the beach, if they don't know about the ticket, then how do you solve that problem? Now
Exactly.
you still got somebody standing in the corner that's, getting cash and giving somebody a ticket, and it's right for all kinds of problems there, so.
And also, if there's the other question, if there's a location, and the one-shot deal knows a location, they're just gonna slide in, who's gonna police the parked vehicles to see whether they pay it or not?
Yep.
That's another question.
Uh,
I mean, I'm not against any of this,
No.
But it's a process
The only way
question.
this works, I agree.
it's a process question.
We're in the process, as you probably know, by the forms you're filling out when you drop off, trying to track everybody that does come.
Right.
How often, how many people they're bringing.
Yep.
And I think Mark Spiegel made an attempt earlier this year before, when he came down, to sort of say, you can't all come at the same time. So you
Right.
gotta get a slotting time.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can't make it because of traffic.
Right.
But the slotting time's also for pickup too, so I think that's important.
I think pickup was a bit bigger chaos than the drop,
Yeah,
in
definitely.
my memory.
Yeah.
You look at like how the casinos operate, I mean, we run line runs into all the casinos, and even as a line run operator, which is like, you get a drop-off time, and when you pull in there, they give you a 15-minute window. If there's an accident on the way, whatever, you just gotta call in and say, bump it, and they'll bump your in time. But when you pull in, and the people are getting off the bus and they're getting their coupons and off they go, they're told, this bus is leaving at 4:25, 6 hours later. And they give you a thing, you put in your windshield that says, slot 7, 4:25. And you pull in there and you have 10 minutes to be gone. And you are gone in 10 minutes. If there's people still there, not their problem.
Call Uber.
Right, exactly, whatever. And you have to take a harder line with people, because especially if there's sun and alcohol involved, people tend to drag their feet a little. I mean, we're all guilty of it.
Their
you
sense
know?
of time changes.
Yes,
Yeah.
certainly.
But, I mean, I think, you know, if you all spend some time, you can develop a system that will work. I don't know exactly who from your side is gonna manage your end of it, but it's either, you know, you call it somewhere the day before and you say, I've got 3 buses coming in, and I need a 9 o'clock drop, a 10 o'clock drop, and a 2 o'clock drop, and I'll have a 4 o'clock pickup, a 4:30 pickup, and a 4:45 pickup. And it can all be done that way, and a confirmation gets sent, and it's done. You know, if there's money being generated enough to cover your cost. If not, it just goes back to the same problem because there isn't money generated, and the only way it's generated is by charging these people. And after doing this for way too many years, if you were hitting people for $50, let's say for conversation's sake today, they're not gonna care. 40 people getting on a bus for $50 extra, it's not gonna matter. You know, I mean, I think if you talk about 100, you'd probably have people say, screw it, I'm just gonna drive.
No, you just add that to the price.
Yeah, just add it to the price. We say, you know, the price is X, including
Our parking fee.
the parking fee. And we collect it, and we pay the parking fee, because the other thing you don't wanna do is send a bus down there, and, you know, Joni's gonna pay the $50 parking fee when it gets in, and Joni goes, I don't have any money. You
Yeah.
know, so we don't do that.
Mm.
We've talked about that, and that would be something that should go after the actual transportation company to make sure they're the ones that are, because that's the bus is the pain in your neck. It's not the people.
Yeah.
You know, it's the bus, so make sure you get the money from the bus companies.
Go ahead, Dan.
I'll apply this to this particular case, but I think more cases might apply. It seems to me that our group here, the task force, should consider the concept and then leave it to Suzanne, police, and you people to work out the details. Because obviously Suzanne has already brought up a couple key issues that would need to be addressed, rather than us trying to figure out where you're gonna park, how much is it gonna cost, you know, because it's all just sort of nonsense, frankly. What we need to do is endorse the concept and leave the details to the professionals.
Thank you. I was the one that asked Denny to put this on the agenda because you are deep in the throes of dealing with parking, and I wanted to find out whether, going forward, to come up with a plan to present to the board as select board for their approval before we actually do it, was worth the time. But if you are in favor as a committee and recommend that we do try to come up with a proposal for the select board to approve, then I'm fine. We'll work on it.
Well, has any thought been given to the stress on the beaches? In other words, let's multiply this up. If it works with 25, when if you had 100 buses? At what point do you say, you know, you're ruining our beaches?
If it were daily, Will, I would say that would be an issue. It's 4th of July-ish,
Yeah.
and then pretty much a set number on Saturdays for the rest of the season and a lesser number on Sundays. So it doesn't seem to be growing. We've been keeping tabs on the bus numbers for 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 years. And there's a pattern. And in terms of stress on the beaches, it's Cahoon Hollow, and I have to double or triple my staff for the busy times. And that's, because there's a formula. The American Red Cross puts out so many people, so many lifeguards, and that's what we use.
Was it 31 or 41 buses this July 4th? It's on Saturday.
I've heard 31, 41, and 50, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, but we'll get the reports from Mark.
Right.
At some point. He wanted to run it by the chief, and then the other thing, I guess, is on the cab side of things.
Not me.
Nobody's cabs?
I tried that once.
Yeah,
that
we
was
do Cape Cod as well.
Well, I'm getting people pulling me aside that are merchants saying, you know, they're not supposed to be parking on South Wellfleet, they're not supposed to be parking downtown, and they are.
Okay.
So, you know, at some point, you know, you have to inform the people that try to do that that's a potential for $75 ticket if they stay longer than 2 hours. They're not tagging them yet.
Okay.
So I
But
think,
that should be part of our discussion.
right, I think part of it should be either they park at the senior center or they park at the elementary school also, if we can get permission from the school committee, but someplace other than merchants' lots
Sure.
Yeah.
No, of course, they're revenue generating. If there's a way on that topic to create some sort of vehicle for hire stand of some sort, in a couple locations, it just happens to be maybe a
Yeah.
certain area that's not underutilized, that often helps a lot. In Provincetown, there's a number of those, and that dealt with that issue pretty well.
One of the things.
Wayne, are you talking about the cabs themselves?
The cabs,
or
yeah,
the
Cape
customers?
Cab and other folks that are just, 4 or 5 passenger type vehicles that.
Okay, but not the.
The
not
cab is
people-
parking and, or the people
No,
are
it's just
parking and
picking
taking the
people
cab?
up, Picking people up.
They're waiting for
Yeah,
people to
and
come.
Uber too, I mean, but I don't know how do you control Uber because they're not really identified. They've got the little sticker in the window. But I mean, it can get to the point where, you can start tagging you with $75, but I think your people, if they say, I want you to pick me up South Buffalo, it might cost you $75, they might think about it and go somewhere else.
Well, the vehicle for hire question, which is what the minivans and the traditional Ubers and all that fall under, should involve the principal clerk as well, because she's the one that manages that piece. So there's really two separate discussions here. One's the vehicle for hire and one's the bus parking. And how can we make this work? I'm pretty sure that how can we make the buses work is going to be a lot less problematic than working with Uber.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have no ability as a community because of the state law to regulate Uber or its drivers,
Right.
other than for a legitimate argument for traffic flow and other issues that the community may face. So there are some things that are within your purview, but it is proven very challenging to, on the local level, provide any regulation.
the Seashore can ban them if they want because they're private roads.
In practice, they can, but they don't.
Yeah.
So they don't allow buses for, like,
Yeah, they don't
but we
allow-
drop buses all the time at the seashore. They don't stop. It comes down to the staff person. And now they've raised the fees, like at Herring Cove, they love getting $10 a person when you drop a bus load there.
And so we can't charge it per picture.
They have a very enclosed entrance.
Yeah.
It makes that type of fee collection easier.
We can, you or committee can continue discussion of paid parking in the lots where people like to leave their cars and Uber themselves somewhere. So that would be another part of that discussion for your recommendations to the board.
Yeah, there's the marina, it's not as big an issue, but once we dredge the harbor, it's going to be a huge issue.
Yeah, and if a business opens in the now unoccupied South Wolf, the general store building, that would create more of a crunch. Right now, there's less of a crunch there because there's fewer people going except to the post office and to the Packy and the Blue Willow.
What's the difference if someone parks at the marina and then goes to work 8 hours a day? Is that different than someone who parks and takes a cab to somewhere?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to be like Provincetown. We're gonna have to have
Resident stickers, right?
not only not just a beach sticker, but a resident slash resident
Authorized
taxpayer
parker.
parking sticker, so that when you park, if there's paid parking and you haven't done it, it's because you paid for your sticker already. And that would be different.
One of the suggestions from some of the merchants downtown was on weekends to have the Wellfleet staff spaces for merchants only by a sticker position. Right now they're open to anybody, but that's, trying to generate room for them to stay all day kind of thing. That's more for, I don't know, that's what the end's purview, I guess, would be, I don't know, if part of the beach.
Paid parking is sort of a touchy topic.
It wouldn't be paid, it was just you get a sticker, and if you're a merchant on weekends, you're.
You don't pay for the sticker?
No, the staff would stay.
Okay, all right.
If I could just touch base for 1 second with the history I have in the bus business, your question about 10 buses versus 20 versus 100, and how do you're taxing the beaches, I completely agree with you. The issue there is, if, for conversation's sake, we both shut it down at 10 buses a day, so we won't do any more than that, and nobody else can either. We've done it, we get to the day we're not gonna sell any more buses today. And they hang up, and 5 minutes later, they call back one of the other members, and they say, hey, can we rent 3 vans? Oh, can we get 5 town cars? They're coming. They're coming to your beautiful town, and they're going to spend the day on your beautiful beach. Fact. You just gotta figure out how you can either decide that you can make enough revenue off of it, that you can offset the damage, or you guys as a town have to put an ordinance in and say there's only 300 people allowed on the beach, and, you know, but you can't stop it by stopping the buses. I wish you could, because I'd be the guy that'd have the first 10 buses and then say, we're all done for the day, but they're gonna keep coming. Because again, we're in all kinds of different transportation businesses between us, and we all know what happens. I mean, the bus, oh no more, you know, no more buses going to the beach, come on Saturday, we're sold out, and the phones are ringing, well, the same people, look at the phone number, it's the same cell phone number, they want vans, they want cars, they want any way to get there, and then they'll just say, I'll drive. And that's the worst case, because then it goes over to you with the people drinking and driving, leaving there, you know, and the restaurant as well, because they served them. So, you know, it's a better, from my side, it's a better way, put them on a bus when they've been drinking, get them home safely, and go from there.
We haven't gotten the reports back yet, but what are the pickup points typically, say on the 4th?
We pick up from Falmouth to Eastham.
But if you're advertising space.
We don't.
No.
We're a charter bus company.
So it's always a
We're
group of
strictly-
people
we're
on their own?
strictly- yeah.
Okay.
He does a little different thing.
Yeah.
And can give you more
It's
information on that.
just, it's a charter, you only do hourly, right? Like you.
Yeah, we just do a flat rate for 6 hours or whatever it is, and that's
It's
it.
just a slightly different method where there are groups that come, they don't have use of the bus in between, so maybe one bus sometimes can do 3 groups. But it's just a slight, but it's a charter still. It's a different way of contracting.
Yeah, nobody's running what would be known as a line run.
Yeah.
We toyed with the idea a couple of years ago of starting a bus every Saturday at exit 6.
Right.
Do exit 6, exit 9, exit 10, and just charge a seat fee. And we looked at it and just realized that it was going to be more stress than it was worth. You know, because then you have no contact information or anything like that. So when they don't come off the beach,
Yeah,
you know, it's
no one to talk to.
and then we're down in Eastham and you're going to turn around and go back because you left 6 people. So we've never opened that door.
What is that flat rate?
What's that?
What is that flat rate?
Our flat rate for 6 hours is $750. So, and the bus is there so they can leave whenever they want to leave.
And how many are on the bus?
It's 6 hours use of the bus.
No, how many hours, how many people?
Oh, the maximum would be 45.
Yeah.
I don't say we put 45 in every single one there. They're in the 30s would
Yeah.
be my best guess average.
Yeah.
And is there a difference between?
Excuse me,
Okay.
the idea that the businesses want to have a designated area for their employees.
In the park, in the hotel?
Yeah, it makes it makes a lot of sense. So what we now have are 3 businesses, I include the Beachcomber as one of those businesses, who are willing to pay for their own designated parking spaces. In place of widespread fees for parking, I think we ought to think in terms of designated parking spaces for businesses with upfront payments. The more recent one is somebody, I think I sent it around for information purposes, about designating commercial fishermen over at a point. There should be a fee for that, and it should be upfront. Correct me if I'm wrong, Suzanne, but it seems the arrangement with the Beachcomber has worked out, at least to the town's satisfaction, pretty well. And then you would have equity, and so you could in fact go to those businesses who use public parking and say, how many spaces do you want to buy, in essence, for either your employees? Certainly down at the pier, it could be for your companies, and that would address the revenue issue. But again, it's all about...
What if they wanted to buy 30 spots at the pier?
Well, it would depend on who it was.
I mean, let's say the Pearl
Because-
wants 20, Max wants 25.
Fine,
and
but then you
Bookstore
also
wants 20.
say, as we've discussed earlier, you would then designate, this is the section for...
First come, first served.
No, for mooring and slip owners. Designate, but, you know, again, without proper signage and proper enforcement, as we learned early on from Fred Young, it's, you know, a moot point. And then you would go to the businesses, and obviously, there was clear control in the case of the Beachcomber over how many spaces there were going to be. So
Yeah.
you make it reasonable.
I would like to mention that the vast majority of those people that come off those buses do not even come into the Beachcomber. I mean, we get some trickle-ins, but those people they're there because the Beachcomber's there, and that's a party beach, but they don't necessarily come into the Beachcomber.
Yeah,
What
I
percentage-
agree with you completely. Yeah.
They're there to party on the beach, and the reason why they want to come to that beach is because it's a cool beach, because the Beachcomber's there.
Yeah.
They might use it to come up for maybe if they're starving, if they forgot to pack a lunch, if they have to go to the bathroom, but they're not coming there to go to the Beachcomber.
Right.
I mean, on 4th of July week, we had 40 to 50 cars every single day that parked in our lot that never redeemed their voucher, so they never even came in the
Yeah.
building.
It's like a third.
Maybe you should buy the beach too.
Yeah.
There you go.
My problem with that deal is that if somebody lays claim to a parking space, then that parking space is out of circulation. And so we've actually been a net loser. Say a business down at the pier says, okay, I want 20 spaces, here's the money for 20 spaces,
Just shrunk the lot by
20
X percent.
spaces.
Yeah.
right.
Well, since we're getting no revenue from all of those spaces, including the one that Wayne mentioned, the town hall parking lot.
Well, it's just gonna make
We're
it
not
worse.
losing
It's gonna make it
anything.
worse for everyone who uses the marina as a marina.
Or just as a general stopping point, so, not easy. But Suzanne, back to your position and where Dale was headed, it's always been tricky to me as to what this committee can do versus what you should be doing. And I've never wanted to interfere with what you're doing. But if we can be supportive,
Appreciate that.
or questioning or something of that nature,
Yeah, I think it's appropriate that we have heard from them, but then make a recommendation that we endorse the basic concept and then turn it over to Suzanne.
That'd be good.
yeah.
And then, well, not just to the beaches, but to the police as well, who are directly involved. And depending on what the final recommendation looks like, and working with the two outfits, maybe the school committee, if the school becomes part of the equation. Because they're very, very particular about the fact that they have legal control of the property.
Now, that parking lot's on both sides of
The other side
Lawrence
belongs to
Road.
the town.
Ballfield side?
Where the old police
Ballfield
station
side
is,
belongs
or the temporary police station.
So are you talking on both sides of the,
Your
Um,
Ken's just-
No, I was just, I just looked at the
on the
school
school
parking
side?
lot,
Yeah.
just to, drive by there when I.
The parking lot, and then the
Circular drive.
circular drive, thank you, that's the universal symbol for that.
No,
A bigger vehicle who couldn't make the turn in the parking lot could go, you could put the giant vehicles there, they could go nose in and then exit without having too much of a
So
problem.
to cover up the handicap.
Cover up the what?
Handicap cards or something, but I don't think they would take them out. Because I think it's like half of those are handicap or on the
Well,
circle.
most of them say no parking,
All right,
but that's during the school day.
okay.
And there are a few handicap spots, as always, by law. But if there's nothing going on at the school, I don't think that handicap parking is an issue.
As long as you clear it up in advance.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what I'm hearing is that I need to, and hopefully the lieutenant, get together and do some discussion of details and proposals and put it together. Because I'd like to be able to bring it to the select board this summer while we're in the throes of summer, because it's more immediate at that point.
Absolutely.
And then next spring, when we put it into, starting January, if we were, I like the idea of the prepaid tickets and you order so many as you need. Starting in January, get the tickets printed and go forth with that. So it's not like June when we're trying to make this work.
Yeah, because we all know how that would work.
It doesn't.
Between you two guys, couldn't you guys identify 90 5% of the buses that could potentially drop off at the.
Yeah, that
I
would be
mean,
very helpful.
anybody that's an
I
interesting
mean, you might find one
carrier-
rogue person, but you could
Right,
sit down and come up with the master
Absolutely.
list of everyone who could potentially
Absolutely.
drive there. So it wouldn't be that difficult to
Well,
get in touch
for-
with almost every single bus company that could
Right.
potentially stop
The
there.
form that they're filling out has the 9 or 10 that you mentioned that come regularly, and they're also noting which one might be a rogue, so we'll know all of the companies, as long as we catch every bus. We may not catch
Right.
every bus on the 4th of July.
I think that one of the bigger challenges is like the party limos
Yeah.
who come from Springfield or something, because it's a one-off, it's a
Yes.
bachelor party or a bachelorette party or whatever they're gonna do.
Now, those people, sorry to interrupt, but those people are primarily coming to the Beachcomber. That's the difference.
Difference.
Like,
Right, because they want an inside place to
yeah, they're
celebrate.
celebrating
Right,
whatever they're
exactly.
celebrating.
But they're the ones that we won't necessarily have contact information for to let them know.
Can they
But
make
we'll
res-
talk about that. That's process, that's not
Right.
anything we have to hash out this morning.
Can they make reservations for a section of the mill?
I would like to move that we recommend the concept of designated bus parking areas, and that Suzanne and the parties involved work with all of those involved with town staff to provide a way to do it.
And if we could add to that, that Suzanne, when you develop a proposal, you bring it back to the committee so we're aware of it.
I'll bring it back to the committee and let you know when it was going to be on the agenda, and, with enough lead time so that your recommendation can go to the select board at the time it's on the agenda. I think that's what they're gonna ask, what your committee's opinion is, so I think that would be,
It's a good addition, I have no problem, but is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Any further discussion? All,
Just
Lieutenant or,
some raw data that Mark Spiegel sent the weekend of the 4th.
are you being picked up?
61 school buses, roughly about 1,700 people. And Saturday, the 6th, was our biggest crunch. 31 buses and about 1,000 people on Saturday. So just to give you, it's raw data.
And that was 61 including the Saturday, or 61 on all days
No,
but Saturday?
61 the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Uh-huh.
Saturday being 31 buses that we caught data on. Friday the 5th, 15 buses. The 4th, 11 buses. And the 3rd is 4 buses. And we'll get all the data to the committee, but this is raw data just given to me by Officer Spiegel.
And just some, go ahead. Oh, just a food for thought that, of course, the calendar does affect July 4th week and how it flows for all businesses. The next 2 years, that's going to be on the weekend, and it's going to be isolated, and it'll seem, there'll be big days, but there won't be multi-day issues.
right.
Sorry.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
One quick question, when you send, say, 31 buses in a day, when your buses don't park somewhere, where do they go? Do they go back to your,
Well, in our case, they're often going to get a second group much of the time, so
Okay.
they disperse from the town pretty quickly. The ones that don't either do what everybody else has been doing, or our office is in North Truro, so
Okay.
there are occasions they go to our office, certainly, if it's a long enough gap.
Ours, on the other hand,
And the issue has just been, I think the thing that we recognize we're gonna do most, even with hourly or whatever your model is you have a pickup time, and that's gonna shift things a bit. We've always had a departure time, but it's never been the bus is gonna leave without you and such, and we need to get a little more aggressive with that on our end.
Do the Dunkin' Donuts people care if we park there?
They do if we don't ask. We do develop a
Do you pay them in
relationship.
any way?
Not at this time.
we've offered to, and again, when you start putting, a dozen his buses and a dozen my buses, there isn't any amount of money that they would take, because we'd fill the whole parking lot.
They'd probably let us use a half
Oh, yeah.
dozen to 10 in the back,
Exactly.
right? If we
On other weekends.
they would do, yeah.
Right.
But it affects their tenants.
There's no
adversely.
question.
We have talked to him early on in our process, and the owner basically said, until I start getting complaints from my tenants, I'm not gonna do anything.
Right.
The only complaint I've heard so far, it's not so much the buses, it's the cars, is on the left-hand side, there's like a hairdresser and things like that have a problem because everybody bunches over there, and, people have to walk forever to get to the hairdresser.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, last week, the property owner of, I call it Cole's Corner, did call and speak with us. More informational, I advised some better signage in their lot, number one, for starters, because Uber is a whole nother element to this that I don't want to tag the bus companies and everybody else. I mean, we had Ubers from Worcester, Milton. I mean, they came to the Cape to make money. We kept moving them along, but they are going to Cloves Corner, the marina, downtown, the school. They are picking up throughout town. So I know the property owner did say that they've been in touch with Raphael and maybe working some details out, but they are concerned that to have 12, 15, 18 buses in their lot is disruptive to their tenants. So better signage and working directly with the bus companies was our recommendation. It is private property.
Are you getting many complaints down at South Wellfleet?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. And the final question from me anyhow is, where do these people come from?
Well, it's all over, yeah. I mean, occasionally they'll come from Plymouth, but for the most part, they come from somewhere as far up as Falmouth. The further away, I think it's the further away you get where the drive makes a difference. So like Harwich and up, I'd say to, Falmouth. Harwich to Falmouth is where most of the groups
But
come from.
all yours are school buses, or you charter style buses to the air conditioning?
Oh, yeah, if someone wants to pay the money for a full-size motor coach, we'll send a 55-passenger coach.
What's
down.
that add to the price?
It gets up in the thousands of dollars.
Okay.
But
Because there was one coach
we don't want to do it.
this 4th of July weekend that got stuck.
Oh, I'm sure.
From Hollow.
Oh, gosh.
I'm sure.
That was a hoot.
I'm sure.
Yep.
Maybe we need
It's very refreshing to have businesses come to the town asking for something and also with a reasonable plan and a willingness to pay for that something.
We all have to work together. I mean, obviously, nobody wants to do damage to a town beach. The other side of that is I can't do damage to the 130 people that work for me as well. They want to get paid on Friday. So but we have to all work together, and we've seen it grow and grow and grow over the last 20 years. I mean, I can go 20 years ago, we'd pull right into the parking lot and just park in there because it was a different world back then. It was, there weren't all the buses. It was more limousine based or small bus based, and now it's the groups of 30 or more and lots of them. Lots of them.
You're doing a lot of stuff at night too with Coon Hollow too, right?
Yeah,
Because I
we're
know
doing-
our parking lots.
we're
like
doing- yeah,
always,
we're doing
you know,
more
we'll be
than we-
busy
than we-
down there, and the
yeah,
lots only a
more than
third
we
full,
used
so
to.
everybody's taking alternative transportation these days.
And again, we all did that. We spent a generation telling people not to drink and drive. And so that's the other side of this. You walk that balance. You don't want to say don't drink and drive unless you're going to Wellfleet. Then you got to drink and drive. So that would be the wrong thing to say.
Do you have trouble with people on the way back? No rowdies?
Rarely.
Are they allowed to drink on the way here?
They're not allowed. Whether they do or not, the driver's facing the other direction.
Yeah.
We can, by law, we can only control that they can't have glass on the bus. That's a federal law. So if someone has a 6-pack of beer in a cooler, we can't put police on the bus. They're grown-ups, they sign a contract. If there's a problem,
Does each person sign a contract?
the person that charges the bus does it.
Okay.
And if a bus, again, in 20 years, if a bus gets to a destination and there's been a problem, it says in the contract that the bus will just disappear. And they've called the office and said, the bus is trashed, I'm not waiting, gone. And then the people call, where's the bus? Read the contract. So we have had to do it, not very many times. Normally you can come to agreement, but,
So they trash the bus on the way there?
yeah. Once in a while.
No, just a quick aside, just being on the ground there all weekend throughout the 4th with our beach patrols. A lot of people talk to us because we're right at the top of the hill. Seeing a lot of out-of-state people that are renting places who then get family together. Connecticut, I talked to New Jersey, and they vacation here, rent a house here, and then charter buses to get the whole family to the beach to enjoy the day. So that's, just talking to people seems to be a whole nother element. They're not all Cape Codders that live in Harwich and Dennis or Falmouth. They're vacationing and finding.
I agree. I would say 80 to 90% would be people that.
Yeah, just talking to them, very nice, very
Yep.
easygoing people.
Okay, on that subject? You done with us? Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Look forward to working with you.
I'm gonna give you a card with my email address on it.
Perfect.
I'll take one too. if you
Sure,
want.
absolutely no email address on the rest of them, but I'll leave a couple more.
That's all right.
Anything I can do, we can do, it's, you know, it works for all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Susan.
You're welcome. Touch.
Thanks, Jason. Nice meeting you. That was your
Now watch this one.
Okay.
Excellent.
Well, I was starting to get into the review of postings on the website. I just suggest that people take a look at the website and see if there are things that you really want to have on there. I think we're gonna have to put some of these results, survey results and that sort of stuff on there.
The stuff we left with the selectmen at our, did they put that in the minutes or not? Okay.
You got it.
Well, it's sort of a related topic if you want. I mean, I've put together a summary of the reports we've received to date from the various beaches. It's a two-sided paper. The backside is very fine print and it has tides and all that stuff. The front page doesn't have quite as much information, so it's a little more legible. But basically, Suzanne can probably comment on this, but John Ryerson has said to me this is the lightest traffic he's seen in the 12 years that he's been doing it, as far as people to the beach.
Wow.
As you can see, you know, Newcomb and Cahoon Hollows, and occasionally Whitecrest is filled up 3 times. The rest of the time, you know, there's plenty of room all day. So, what he's not, you know, people I've talked to in both the rental agency side of the business and the motels, at least on the rental side, they say it's the tax, the increased taxes. And sometimes people mention sharks, but it's always, what do you mean it's gonna go up, you know, 15% this year? I'm not gonna rent. So I'm not sure if the state shot themselves in the foot by, you know, collecting a little bit of tax, but they're gonna lose revenue on sales tax and other things related to people traveling here, so.
But the town won't.
The town will gain a little bit of money possibly, but they may lose money on, I guess we have restaurant tax, a portion goes to us, doesn't it? I think?
Sure.
Yeah, so people aren't eating out as much. You know, I've sort of been doing a casual review of the parking lots at night when I'm out, and, you know, they seem to be fairly full, but certainly there's a lot of vacancy signs on the motels on Route 6. I'm not sure if that's the case. I gotta do a little canvassing there, but, so far it's only been Newcomb, and it's only been Cahoon, and occasionally Whitecrest.
Do you sense that it's the actual rental tax or the fact that they don't want any record of the fact that they were renting? That has always been the main objection.
They don't want what?
They do not want any record of the fact that they're making a lot of money renting in the summers, but not reporting it to
Oh,
you.
so people are not renting, basically, or not reporting.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
how much of the, I mean, a good indication, I think, would be how many people are buying beach stickers this year versus last year.
Our numbers are stable from 2018 to 2019, with the exception that the first week we were open, the week of the 15th, because there are 5 Saturdays in June, that week was particularly light. But cumulatively, as of Saturday, this last Saturday, we were just about even in numbers.
And that includes the shorter term permits too? Yeah. So they all went up, what, $5, I think, basically?
Right,
Yeah.
And so did the resident beach stickers.
Right.
3-year prices are last year's prices.
This, okay.
But that's neither here nor there. We've sold, it's kind of weird, resident stickers, we've sold more than we did last year. Not quite sure why. But the visitor stickers are, you know, pretty much stable. And this last week, which was really, really quiet, is always really, really quiet.
Oh, okay.
People get all wired up over the 4th of July, and then there's this low week afterwards. This coming weekend and the heat wave is going to tell the tale.
So one suggestion I was gonna have is, we have all these Wellfleet residents complain they can't get to the beach. We advertise that they haven't been that crowded, but I guess it's gonna change, no sense doing that, to, you know, lure them down there and not have the space.
The Wellfleet residents who complain they can't get to the beach are complaining because they can't get to the beach of their choice at the exact time they want to go there.
Right.
And that will never change because people have a pattern of beach usage.
Yeah, I was waiting in line a couple of weeks ago, and the attendant was walking up the line telling people there was ample parking at the con.
Right.
And I saw every go, not one car turned around.
Right, because Linda does that. She calls the town on the radio and asks if they have spots, and I'll hear them say, yeah, we got half a lot full. And she'll walk the line, and people are like, nope, going to Newcomb's.
Dan, you mentioned, I think in an email that about, there's a number of people parking early in the morning going to the beach that do not go to the Cone.
Yeah.
Can one conclude that they're going there to pay the $20 fee instead of $30 at White Crest?
Maybe a little bit, but again, I think it's, you don't want to go to that beach because that's the fun beach. You know, that's where young people congregate more so than families at Newcomb's and surfers at the Counts.
But they could go to White Crest, pay more, and then ride the bus to get to the
Yeah, but they'll only do that once the Comer's full. I mean, I guess the fact that we're $10 cheaper than the town probably has something to do with it, but on a normal day-to-day basis, we probably don't get, you know, we'll sell 130 vouchers, we'll get 6 to 9 or 10 that don't come in. But on the 4th of July weekend, it was more like 40 to 50 every day. So, you know, and that could be some people who just forget or whatever, don't even, you know, don't listen to the lock guy when he tells them that that's basically a $20 bill we're handing you, and they just stick it in their window and go to the beach, and they make them at home or not even use it, but more so on Saturdays and holiday weekends. Our lot becomes a town lot, basically, or
So
half.
that's 130 spaces in the rear.
20 in front,
Are
21.
they allowed to park in front, pay the fee?
Yeah. First come, first served, we fill the front lot first.
And I found in the afternoon, it's pretty easy to get a spot in the front usually, lately, but we haven't hit the peak period yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, if you get there at 10:30 in the morning, you're probably not gonna get a spot, but
Yeah.
if you get there at 9 o'clock in the morning, you're gonna get a spot. If you get there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you're gonna get a spot. I mean, it turns around. And I think that goes for maybe every single beach except maybe Newcomb's, because that is the town,
Yep.
you know, that's the preferred town beach.
I've sat there for a while and watched your staff, they do a great job. I mean, and I know if they put up with a lot of BS too. You know, that car just went down, why can't I? You know,
It's not an easy job, especially for a 19-year-old kid.
no. Just gotta give them guns, that's all.
We have some. We usually have a couple guns up there.
Yeah, I know, that's right.
When it matters.
And Mark and his people have been doing a fabulous job.
Thank you.
Yeah, people comment on how friendly they are regardless of how nasty people are.
Have the number of complaints from residents of Ocean View Drive this year lowered? With
Have you
the
got
increased
any?
police presence and organization?
Well, I don't know if the complaints have lowered because I don't get the complaints. I see them on Facebook and that kind of thing. But I do know a number of people have said how much more smoothly the 4th of July weekend ran with the additional presence. And they were happy to see it. They were happy it had been organized by the police department so that they felt, because they're law-abiding citizens, they appreciate the support of, you know, lawful activities. So that's what I've been getting, positive feedback.
What was the difference between last year and this year? I know you had 2 police officers at the top, and you had the National Park, and as well as the sheriffs someone from Harwich, they brought.
Sheriff and Howard ATV units.
Yeah.
Right now, we're dedicating 2 patrols to the beach. Right now, mostly hiring from out of town just because of staffing issues. Mark Spiegel, plus one of my other reserves up on top. The Beachcomber on Saturdays hires a detail 3 to 7, so 1 down there. So we're averaging 5 to 7, during crunch time, especially the July 4th weekend. I was around the weekend, and but I can't tell you how, especially younger, we're coming off the beach thanking us. I mean, it was not a negative
No, it was,
environment at all. We had 1 arrest on Saturday, but that's, for that crowd and the amount of alcohol and the amount of people around, that's a success.
Is the town funding payment for the additional personnel?
Yeah, this past winter during the budget season, we asked the town for some additional funding. What happened the previous year was I had 2 officers on patrol on that Saturday, a few reserve officers, and we just got blitzed by the buses, about 1,000 people in the street, and we have other calls for service throughout town that weren't getting answered. So we just need to focus some more resources, which we don't have, like Oyster Fest and other major events. We need to draw in outside resources, and that costs money, obviously, to bring them in. So the town's been very receptive. Suzanne, has helped with the argument with us.
How many ATVs does the lifeguards have?
we have 2 ATVs, 1 elderly, probably not gonna last much longer.
Yeah.
And our brand new UTV with the treads,
Yeah.
which after it was delivered the second time, and the 4-wheel drive
Worked?
correctly, is a very effective vehicle on the beach. The day it arrived, I think the 8th of July, the gentleman who brought it, plus 1 lifeguard, went up and down the trail at Whitecrest and back up. And then they loaded it with 3 people in the front and 1 in the back and did the same thing. And it walked right up the dune without any stress or skipping at all. So in terms of putting a patient, a medic, and 2 people in the front, it will absolutely do that. without
Which
trouble.
beach does it stay parked at typically?
Right now, it's, it was going to be at Newcomb Hollow and live in but they decided it was more effective to leave it at Whitecrest. But we have less beach to traverse to get to Cahoons to be staged.
Yep.
And then the ATV lives in the storage container at Newcomb Hollow,
Okay.
along with our boards and stuff.
So other than a new ATV, you don't think you need more?
We don't think we need the second one. I think
Yeah.
for 1 good ATV and the UTV should be enough vehicles. I don't want a fleet of vehicles.
Yeah, okay.
In an emergency, who drives them?
Well, it's, the lifeguard would be a lifeguard would be the driver. I've got a half dozen who are experienced on ATVs and off-road vehicles. The fire department will have custody of the vehicle over the winter, the 10 months that we're not on the beaches. And Chief Polly has 2 of his paramedics who are experienced in that kind of vehicle. So that's who'll be driving it.
It's good for the snow too, isn't it? Is it or not?
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
It's good for sand, and our hope is it does well on mud. If there's a low tide, flat rescue, swamp rescue.
Excellent.
Well, the other issues on the agenda, we've got this very colorful survey summary from Bruce Catcher.
Yeah, I didn't get one of those. Do you have any more?
Sure.
Or give one to Suzanne and
Okay. And frankly, it is just so much information, it's hard to assimilate it. And I'm not sure what actions I would recommend coming out of this. I would suggest that we have a meeting focusing on this and get Bruce there. But it was, to me, I think, again, the overall survey and the overall satisfaction question was important. And just paying attention to this stuff, I think, has helped alleviate some of the concerns. But does anybody want to go through this now?
I think it'd be better when Bruce is here so you can explain it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, this doesn't make any sense.
I'm blinded.
What do you think?
It's very clever. Anyhow, I think the overall satisfaction and dissatisfaction. And one of the things I did notice is there weren't many outliers, and that was one of the things that we were trying to do when we cross-tabulated all this to see if there were some things that led people to be satisfied or dissatisfied. And there are a couple little outliers, but they're not material. And I don't know what actions we would take based on that. So, I would recommend that for your reading and sleeping.
In regards to the taxpayer survey, we are, I think as of now, we've got no new ones, but I have since our last meeting, gotten some of which I think I input before he did this summary, but I'm not inputting any more unless there are comments. Comments is all I'm adding in. If they're new comments, that's all.
I don't think, I mean, we've got 908 responses.
Yeah, which is
That's
phenomenal, yeah.
The drift of what people are thinking. And we don't have any updates on any other surveys. The marina's done. Do we want to talk about putting all that data on?
I just want to bring it up again. I'd like personally just to input that, and I'll do it myself. We're not going to run into any number of problems. We're not having that, we're not doing 1,000 surveys a month. I just think it would be nice for Bruce to be able to manipulate it similar to what he did with this, even though we know the results are going to say we can't do anything till the harbor's dredged. I mean, there's nothing we could do now that would make any sense till the harbor's dredged. But I just, since we've gone to the trouble of getting it, I'd like to input it, that's all. It's up to the
Still
committee.
have all the surveys?
I'm happy to give them to you.
All right.
Okay.
Give me something to do on weekends,
Yeah.
rainy days.
Unless an objection, I don't think we need any votes on that.
Okay, fine.
Okay, we're still waiting for the current activities at the beach park.
Yeah, we have had a less than phenomenal response. It's picking up. Initially, we determined that the posting of these boards wasn't really working. Even, here's one that someone filled it out on the board. So we've now gone to, I'll pass this around, we've now gone to, I had the survey blown up to poster size and put all kinds of new signs up around, asking them to take the survey on the door as well as around. And we have the business cards where they can pick them up. And every time I'm down there, I ask people in line, any of you non-residents, then I'll try to hand them out. But I think we're up to a total of 90 responses from the beach office, of which 51 are residents or non-resident taxpayers. So it's about 40 people. So I don't know if there's anything we can do to generate more input, or do we really want more input from the 1, 2, and 3 week buyers? Or I guess that's up to the committee. I mean, the thought I had was when you're finished with the person, you don't want to confuse the process of trying to get your sticker, but when they get their sticker, handing them back the sticker, what you say, if you're interested, you can take the survey and all the information's over there. And,
We tried handing them the cards and they hand the cards back to us.
okay,
So,
that doesn't work.
Well, I
We
think
tried.
that's telling you something. I mean,
That they don't care.
they don't care.
they're on vacation.
It works.
Yeah.
Who wants to fill out a survey when they're trying to get their sticker?
Well, no, you don't fill it, you go home and do it. You don't do it, you don't have to do it there.
Okay.
I-
Who wants to fill out a survey after a day?
Well, I have a couple of them, so I'm standing here in line.
Only to the complaint.
Yeah, only if you couldn't get in.
Well,
How's the
we-
kiosk working out?
Wayne, are you through?
I'm done.
Okay. Kiosks are working out when they work. We have a signal issue. So my software creator person has ordered 2 antennas to boost the 4G signal there. It seems to be first thing in the morning when everybody comes in and lines up. And I don't know if their cell phones are sucking the wireless signal away or what's going on. But we are going to put 2 antenna on top of the booth. But I love it because each day I print out that day's summary, turn it over to the treasurer. There's no cash, there's no bank deposits, there's no cash exposure. It takes as many people as it did to do the money, because people can't figure out how to put their credit card in the machine. So you have to have one person at each machine helping people put their credit card in.
Peak time, only all the time.
Every time there's someone at the machine,
Okay.
someone needs to go over.
So you have a dedicated employee at each
Yeah.
kiosk.
Yep. We have
But you
had
don't have
complaints because one of them is ADA height, and they say it's too short. But aside from that, people love it. Everybody lives on their debit card.
What do you do when it's down and there's a line of people? You send them somewhere else, or you just keep them waiting until you can get it to work?
We tell them, it hasn't been down for more than 5 minutes.
Oh.
We'll say, give us a chance, because my people, a couple of my people, 3, have been trained by the software guy to reboot it and get it going again. And since the weekend, he's been down there every morning at 8:30 to make sure things are up and running,
And you've not,
which I would prefer not to have him do, so we're hoping the antennas will solve the problem.
I understand that the, both machines have not been out together very often.
Oh, absolutely, that's why we're having a problem with it, that's why Donya's there.
No,
Both have been.
They'll-
both have been out?
'Cause it is.
Oh, no, it'll be one or the
One or
other.
the other.
Yes, and because people are, I want to get a chip reader in there, but the company that built the kiosks themselves say I need a different enclosure, which is code for giving another $15,000 for a chip reader, and I am reluctant to do that. If you stand there, it's a stripe reader, and you have to turn the card over and make sure the stripe's on the correct side of the little slot you put it in, which is a lot for people.
Now, is there going to be signage on that to shed at some point?
Yeah, Danya is sending me the PDF of the little decal that says this is how you put your card in. I'm gonna blow it up and put it everywhere I can find to put it to help people.
What about getting Comcast or Verizon to hardwire Ethernet there?
We have Verizon.
Yeah, but can't you get it, instead of using the Wi-Fi, can you?
I don't think Verizon comes down Ocean View
They
Drive.
do, I'm not Verizon, I have Comcast.
Comcast.
Well, at this point, it's a wireless thing, and I would rather wait until we get Open Cape out there, instead of going through the whole thing with Verizon or Comcast, and then do it once instead of twice. But,
What's-
I don't know.
What's the split been between credit and debit, you know? How
I
many
don't
people
get it.
need?
I haven't looked at the striped dashboard to figure that out. I could.
That's not a big deal, just what,
Yeah.
it says debit, credit card only on the sign, but I'm sure people are figuring out it's debit.
People don't even know the difference.
Yeah.
They don't pay attention, they just know it'll work.
It's a card.
If it has the MasterCard, Visa, or Discover symbol on it, debit or credit, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't, okay.
Okay, I was just gonna, before we get off the other side, I was just gonna say that I'm not particularly fussed about not getting a great response from temporary beach sticker people.
Okay.
I'm really interested in what the taxpayers, and I don't discriminate between resident and non-resident, because those are the guys we want to understand how we can help, if we can help.
Because they're footing the bill.
Yeah. There have been some commentary from those that have commented that, I'm paying this $90 or $95 non-resident 1 week, and I can't only get to the beach 1 day a week, or one of the 7 days I'm here, or 2 days. But I think that's past history. I don't think that's been the problem this year.
There are variables here that nobody can control.
Yeah, no, you can't control
What
the
beach they're gonna go to, what time.
tides.
And we haven't been through other than the 4th of July, we haven't been through August yet, so.
Yeah.
If you get to Newcomb Hollow before 10 o'clock in the morning, you will get a spot at Newcomb. That's what this says right here.
Yeah.
So, wake up, set your alarm.
So just try.
I mean, the beach is only so big, I mean, you can't
Yeah.
hold spots for people,
I think at some point, maybe at the end of the summer, we have to go public and answer these questions about expand this, expand that. We can't. The only thing we can possibly expand is Whitecrest, and so far the numbers haven't supported it bringing in enough revenue to pay for itself, but who knows what will happen in August, so.
Yeah. And perhaps the bottom line many times is, this is Wellfleet in the summer.
Yeah, yeah.
Suzanne?
I just on something that Wayne just said about Whitecrest, not, the number of cars that want to park this year. That expansion was not so much based on accommodating current parking needs, but because we're going to continue to lose at the other, to have a 20-year plan. If we build it, we're not going to probably max out for 20 years.
Yeah.
That was the original plan.
Okay.
So there was no expectation that we would fill. However, if we get into an agreement with the bus companies, we might sell bus parking in the expanded lot for the short term.
In addition, there are a handful of Saturdays every summer that will bring in a considerable amount.
Yeah, well, if you put in
We
200.
on that
we
one
could
day.
have parked twice as many people as we parked on the 4th of July.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not
Twice as
arguing-
many.
I'm not arguing
So,
that.
just
Probably
because,
almost every sunny Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have
Probably
to,
fill an
Yeah.
extra 500 spots there.
you
yeah,
have to,
$30 is $15,000.
yeah, it's not inconsiderable.
yeah, and you have to be prepared for losing as many as, 80 or so spaces between the front lot at your facility and the front lot at Whitecrest, so. And you might lose, Ocean View Drive. I mean, the plan that architect sent in for us had the road rerouted around the back of the parking lot during the summer. And then, and during the day, 9 to 5, he shut down Ocean View Drive.
He had 3 times as many spots planned as the town.
Oh, yeah, no, that wasn't, it was just, okay.
Well, you also have private enterprise out there on Ocean View. There's a guy
I'm
out
aware
there
of that.
parking cars in his driveway.
I know,
Yeah.
I had a discussion with the chief about that yesterday.
Is it legal or?
It's not illegal.
Yeah, okay. How many can you get in?
Registered as
6
a
or 7?
business?
It's definitely illegal, I would say.
The only issue there is that he operates like one of those really
The
tight
approach
lots
to
in the
the
city, and
employees
he
there.
parks everybody in, and he has to shuffle cars around.
Yeah, he has to take
To get
keys.
people in and out. So depending, he runs into the same thing that the beachcomber does. At the end of the day, everybody wants their car at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
What is the difference between that and those residents who charge during Oyster Fest? They don't get a business permit.
No, that's what I said, it's not illegal.
Yeah.
Unless he creates, and they create a traffic hazard on a public road, then it becomes an issue. If it's on their private property, it's not illegal.
It's residential property out there, residential district.
Then you need to speak to the chief, because I'm reporting what he relayed to me
Although
yesterday.
that sounds like a zoning
It is.
issue and not a criminal law issue.
Right, it's a civil issue if it's zoning.
The other thing I noticed the other day on the weekend days is he was having the Funk bus stop and pick up his people that was coming.
That's
from-
very enterprising.
Yeah, I don't know if he's paying them $5 a head or what, but there were a number of guys getting on with their chairs. And it might have just been one time, luck of the draw or whatever, but anyway. Is it, do you know if is it the owner or a renter that's doing
I
it?
have no idea
It's the
who it
owner.
is.
It's the owner, yeah, okay.
If it's the one you're thinking of, like
Yeah.
6 houses up on the left.
Yeah, it's the old Perkel house.
740 Ocean View
Marla
Drive.
Perkel's house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Marla Perkel's old house, yeah.
yeah. So I guess he's the second owner since the Perkel sold it, whoever he is. And he bought it at auction, I think, for $800,000 cash.
All right,
That's the guy.
we appreciate these observations, and Wayne's been occasionally putting out something on observations.
And I've got a few more to post, but
I've got the rest of the summer to go through.
Yeah, no, I'm actually, if you want to use it, I'm finding it difficult to read my notes when I write them down. I'm putting together a form, if you want to use it, you don't have, you can. So if you're out and you see a beach, you can take it off and scan it to me or send me a photo of it and I'll enter it into our system. But the other thing I had done from, we talked about last session, the Cape Cod online has all the towns' costs of stickers and the various stickers they have. I've given you a summary of that. It's also, well, forget the backside, but on the front side, I reduced it down to mainly where we compare. I mean, some towns that have these weird types of particularly Bourne has all these weird things. If you buy a mooring or a shellfish license, you get discounts and all that stuff. But basically, with the exception of the daily fee, we're the highest on the daily fee, with the exception of Yarmouth and, well, I guess this number of them at 30, a couple of them at 30 on weekends only. And otherwise, most everybody else is $20 on a daily basis. And then the resident stickers, this here is last year's fees, I think. I thought I went to our website and picked it up, but I think all our fees are $5 higher now. And the only thing that I haven't put in here, I did put in Provincetown, but Provincetown is the rates of the seashore. So I can put in the Provincetown private lots or non-public lots, but so that's just for informational purposes and for Suzanne's benefit. But I will send out a revised one because there is some errors in this particular.
Okay.
So,
In the fall, at the post-season beach managers meeting, we will all put our this year's fees in across the Cape, and it gets put into a spreadsheet, and I will share that with this committee when I receive it, the updated version. It also has numbers sold throughout the year for each town, so it's an interesting kind of, and you'll see that Dennis makes $3 million a year on their beaches. Maybe only
grosses or net? Grosses.
gross.
Yeah.
What's our gross?
Our gross is around $1 million.
Okay.
And the net's what, 250-ish? Probably less this year because of all the expenses.
Well, $1 million and my budget's around 275, so after that, it's like $750,000 that goes to offset the tax rate.
Wow.
Okay. Is there any place that we want to be? Wayne has suggested, and I agree, that we might want to try to get with the non-resident taxpayers in a forum. Anybody got any burning desires for that sort of stuff? I'm not sure what sort of thing we can do with the available answer questions.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, I can imagine any dog and pony show.
Well, maybe something we did similar to the selectmen, or just point them if you want to see what has, just go to this following selectmen's meeting. I did get the notice from one of the groups because I've signed up to be a member, and the agenda did not include anything about parking. So it would have to be an add-on at this point. I think it's the first or second Saturday in August is their meeting date. And then Sheila had talked about having a forum while all the non-residents were here on the parking issue. So it might involve, Suzanne, ourselves. I don't know if we need to bring in the National Park Service, but, the police and stuff, so they can.
Can I interrupt for
Sure.
just, Dale, for 2 seconds here? When do we want to have the next meeting? Dale, catch a lead.
September?
That's where I'm at. I had an August 7th time down here, but I'd like to get through the summer.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Yeah, unless something comes up that we have to address as far as in the next few weeks.
And how about time of day?
I think so. Sheila can come. The 4 o'clock is probably better. And Ginny.
Jenny too.
Is that okay with you, Susan?
After Labor Day, I don't have any time constraints.
Okay.
Could we do it at 3?
Yes. I have no problem with 3.
So September,
Week after Labor Day?
Fine. Well, we tend to be first and third.
Not the day after Labor Day.
No, the week after Labor Day.
so it would be September 10th then.
Yeah. Because you're still shutting down probably.
September, no,
I mean, September 11th.
that's a second one.
That's a Wednesday, right?
That's a second, or we did first and
Oh,
third.
first.
Better bake a cake, that's my birthday.
Any day but Monday in September is fine with me.
September 4th then?
I do.
Yeah.
That's before Labor Day.
Bye.
Yeah,
Oh, is it really?
the other person that's been very helpful here,
Oh.
Operations Mikulosh, who runs your, it's been phenomenal.
No, that's after Labor Day. That's okay. September 4,
3 o'clock?
3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I prefer 4.
Who wants to reach out to the taxpayer groups to see if they want us to be there? I mean, I can go as a member and just be in the audience and stick my hand up and say, anybody have any questions on parking? I'll try to answer.
Is that the Tuesday after Labor Day?
Wednesday after Labor Day.
Wednesday after Labor Day. Okay.
Several years ago, I was requested to give a presentation on the state of the harbor to the non-taxpayers for the senior center. The place was packed. They were very receptive to our giving the presentation. I really think there's a lot of merit to making ourselves available and trying to schedule something with them.
Okay.
especially in light of the fact that that group in the past year or so, I think, has expressed that they don't feel included at times in the town government and decisions or recommendations that are made. So I would endorse reaching out to them and making the committee available.
I'll send a memo around. I think Bruce knows someone on one of them, and I'm obviously a member of the other one, so.
There are two.
I think there's two still. One's not as active as the other one, yeah.
Well, I don't wanna spend all our time going to these groups.
Yeah, no, all right, well, we'll
Pick one and we'll go to that one.
do- okay,
And I suspect that's the non-resident taxpayers,
yeah, they-
not the seashore people.
yeah. That's all I had.
Okay. All right.
I'll just make a comment that keep up, the beaches are about to get busier
Oh,
in
yeah.
the next 5 weeks, just so you don't get complacent.
No. The onslaught is coming.
I hope so.
Oh,
This weekend will tell.
Well, you've had pretty good
And know that
year to date.
We haven't noticed any, so we're like 5% up in the lot, which isn't very much. but-
Yeah, what about in the food and beverage side of things?
We're up about the same.
Okay.
And we know that the Cape Cod Times is watching.
Somebody had to have been on one of those charter buses,
But
would
they-
be my guess.
Well, we saw the editorial comment about,
Yeah.
has been other stuff, other articles?
No, I'm just noting that they're watching.
Yes.
And applauding.
And they
Which
think
is nice.
Cahoon Hollows is part of the National Seashore.
Now,
In the editorial, it said all in the National Seashore beaches.
Oh,
I move we adjourn.
is there a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
All right.